Boom shakalaka. Today's video, I'm joined by expert trader, crypto lifer. In this video, we're going to be discussing the secrets for surviving the bear market and actually making it your most profitable time in cryptocurrencies. Make sure to check out his channel on YouTube, Crypto Lifer. I will put links down in the description. Enjoy the video. See you guys later. Peace.
We talk about being through the bear markets. We know there's emotions running high. People are panic selling, and some people are leverage trading because they just feel like it's the bottom and they're going to get this great pump because they're losing. Some people lose a lot and it forces them into doing silly things. So I just wanted to go over, how you feel, like how are you doing today? How are you feeling? And, what was your first bear market like? And if we can give people some insight. And did you go through, I think you're an OG, you went through no emotions, but, did you go through the emotions these beginners are going through?
Oh, totally. And I still go through the emotions now. It's not like you get through once and then you're set, but you get through once and then you're more prepared for when it happens again. Like my first bear market was 2018 to 2020, when it was just long drawn out. I hodled all the way through it, lost 90 to 99% of all cryptocurrencies that I had. Yeah, felt a pit in my stomach, and just kept going on faith that things would return, because you look back historically at Bitcoin, and past performance can't indicate future performance, but you look back and it always cycles, but you're like, what if it doesn't this time? And especially when it was getting down and just staying down at levels of like $3,000 to $6,000, I felt it was hard to go through it, but getting through it that first time makes it a lot easier to get through it again.
I'll tell you what, I was so bit by the Bitcoin bug, because I was a gold guy. I was buying a lot of gold and silver before I even knew what Bitcoin was. I found out about it was like 500, and I didn't ape in until it was 1800. By then I realized what it was, and I was pissed that I didn't buy it when it was like 350, 350 was when I first heard about it, let's just say. But, and the, and I hodled. What got me, honestly, was getting super excited when my account went up that June when we hit 14K, and I thought we were out. I was like, oh, 20K this summer, baby. Like, it only takes a year to go through this bear market. I was like, this is nothing. And then, that max pain, that pandemic dump, I realized how people do have, heart attacks and stuff. Cause like I turned ghost white. Everyone got in the stock market, but crypto didn't get it first. So I was like, yeah, you guys all got it. Like, we good, and then crypto just completely tumbled like a few days later. I turned white. Like, I couldn't believe how low my account went. Bitcoin was at like 38. And I remember to this day, my phone's in my hand and I just pull it towards myself like in a movie. And I'm like, and I just like buy a whole Bitcoin. I'm like, damn it. Like, you can't take my soul. Like, I'll just do what at that point, it was just straight, I don't know, stubbornness, conviction. I just did whatever I had to do to like get through the market. Have you ever made deep buys in the middle of the fear?
Yeah. Like even now I'm dollar cost averaging. I know scientifically you're better off plopping in a large amount towards the bottom. Like there's a paper that was written, dollar cost averaging Bitcoin, a case study. And it actually shows that most of the time, aside from the tops, you're better off just putting a whole large amount in than dollar cost averaging. But because I just am a lot more comfortable dollar cost averaging, because I know myself, if I was to put a bunch of money in right now and then next week it drops by 50%, I would just be beating myself up. Whereas like I can set it and forget it with the dollar cost averaging and not have to worry about it. I'm just buying up the whole entire bottom.
I never tell someone I call the bottoms, but I instinctively have put in large amounts at the exact right time. And so I tell everyone, watch my channel, because like I'm not going to tell you when to get in, but like, and so last night or yesterday in my live, I said, I'm going to buy, to me, $5,000 is a lot of money, right? And I said, I'm going to buy $5,000 worth of Bitcoin today. And I did it last night. I posted it to my trading group. It's up now. Like it was down 300 and it wasn't about, I'm going to hold it for 15 years, but right now it's up 172. I got in at 21,922. But, and what I do, like you say, I DCA, but I plop a large amount in like I separate it in an account. Like I'll put it into stable and then I'll send it to Binance US, and I'll know like this 20 grand is for Bitcoin. I'm not swinging it. And I have to tell myself, because things get fun, right? You see a coin getting fun and you're like, maybe I should And I tell myself, no, that is the bag for Bitcoin. And then I just slowly go in. And then when I'm telling you, you taught me, man, you taught me so well that the fear and greed index, when that's at 8, when I've never bought it at 7 and 8, I have kicked myself. So this time, instead of being pissed that the other way around, like I should have got more, I said, Sam, a few times in your life now, you've seen 7 and 8 and you didn't buy them. You bought like 1,500 or you bought 500. And I was like, man, you got to buy at least $5,000 now when that's at 7 or an 8. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, no one wants to feel that pain, right?
Yeah. Well, because it's very uncertain right now. There's a lot of fear and it's very uncertain because it's already crashed so much. There's the possibility it could go lower, and nobody wants to make a mistake. Everybody wants to buy a sure thing, and we all want to get ahead. So buying when the price is low and when it's uncertain is super difficult because it goes against every instinct that you have. But those are the times when it's usually best to buy. And I always kind of like to look at classical financial principles for investing in crypto, because I know it's brand new technology and I know it moves a lot quicker than other markets, but these financial principles are timeless for a reason. Like
it's human emotions on a chart,
yeah,
which is the same from 1920 to 2020.
Yeah, yep. And like Warren Buffett, he'll say, if you're not planning on holding something for 10 years, you shouldn't hold it for 10 minutes. So like I always look at that type of thing, like, okay, maybe be less speculative, and maybe just because chances are, and clearly you can't say with 100% certainty, but chances are if you buy Bitcoin or Ethereum right now, over the long run, you're going to do really, really good. Like chances are you're going to do really good. This is the thing that 6 months ago we were talking about. It was going up to $1 million per Bitcoin. And so right now, if you take a look at it, if you step outside and just do a mind game, you'd be like, okay, Bitcoin's roughly $20,000. So you can buy a Bitcoin and you can potentially lose $20,000, or you can buy a Bitcoin and you can potentially gain $980,000. It's like the downside is so low.
There is no, if you take a mathematician, Bill Miller, right? That giant billionaire, he said the same thing recently. He said, listen, and the bigger you are and the more macro trends you've been through, this is such an easier decision because you're just like, there's no asset in my life that has this much upside and that less downside. That's why I put in $5,000 last night. I'm starting to become a macro guy. Like I'm starting to see it, and you can get out of the minutia. And also I've been looking at the 2-week chart. That's been my go-to because the monthly is so chunky. I mean, it has, and I've been keep showing the DXY on that 2-week. And yes, it's pumping now, but it just has to double bottom on the daily. That's what I just want to, double top. I want to see this double top on the daily. I can see it in my head. And then, what scared me, this is what scared me. Somebody on Twitter, this guy, he's always posting like heavy FUD, and he posted a rising wedge Bitcoin's in, and he's like 10-year rising wedge, where that's going. And like, he points to like $1,000. And I'm just like, for a second last night, I was like half buying it. And I was like, oh God, like, could we lose this macro logarithmic trend that we keep saying can't ever go lower than? And, because this is the first time, like, we're probably going to 19. Did we hit the all-time high yesterday? I get some exchanges said yes, some exchanges say no, right? I saw a wick to 20,008, and then the other ones only go to 22. I don't think they touched, Did you see that? Did you look into that?
I'm not sure, but it is something that, would be interesting if Bitcoin breaks its previous pattern of never breaking below a previous all-time high. That would definitely be interesting if it happens. I wouldn't be surprised, because there are support levels like 17,000, 15,000, 9,000, and even like going all, I mean, I've prepared myself psychologically and really like done a gut check where it could go down to 3,000. Yep. I think that's unlikely, but I just prepare myself in terms of that gut check, because here's the thing, like being like a so short-sighted on it, like, what are the chances that over the next 10 years, Bitcoin doesn't do kind of similar to what it did over the past 10 years? Like, what are the chances that it would change so dramatically to where it's been the best performing asset of the past 10 years, and then all of a sudden it doesn't do that? The chances of that happening are so low.
To me, like to jump on your metaphor here, Bitcoin's a boat, right? it went through 2 or 3 foot C's and did pretty good. Now it's going to go through like 1 foot C's, because what I mean by that is the money printing is making it far more obvious to the average person. I was 10 years ago with Mike Maloney, Peter Schiff. Like, no one was talking about what I was talking about. I was stacking silver and gold. People thought I was a nut, you know? And I said, they're going to be helicoptering money. Janet Whelan's going to send you checks to your house. I was like, they're going to give you money. It's going to get crazy. And like Mike Maloney told this to me. You could go watch this 8-part series of Money. He shows the helicopter money, little cartoon, Janet Yellen throwing the money out the helicopters. Like, they did it. They did everything he predicted 10 years ago. You know, I like to listen to people who are wiser, wiser than me, and why, wisdom comes from age and, experience and time, right? And knowledge. I mean, I love that I met these guys online like you. And that's why I love what you did, man. And all the people. And that's why I'm a YouTuber now, because I wouldn't have a bank account like I have without the YouTubers that were teaching me. Like, I never let my schooling interfere with my education. My education came from YouTube,
Mm-hmm. And it's still early. I mean, Bitcoin's 10 plus years old, YouTube's 10 plus years old. So they're still very, very early technologies compared with some of the other technologies that
YouTube's
we have.
only 10 years old. Like,
it's probably a bit older than that, but
yeah, but still, like, reality. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's not that old. And here's the thing. Like, everybody looks up to BitBoy right now. BitBoy started his channel in the bear market. He used to say, I was born in a bear market. And he literally, when everybody else was scared, when everybody else was heading for the hills, he was just like, I'm going to start making videos. I'm going to start tweeting. And just like, look at what he's built up from the bear market. And that's something that's possible for a lot of people, because while it may be hard to follow the charts, and while it may be hard to just like do this stuff every day, YouTube gives people a great opportunity to just go and make a living from nothing.
No, you can. I was into music growing up, and, put out some albums and was always around artists. And, all you have is your beats in your brain, hip hop, like, you come up with your raps and somehow you excite people enough, and then you get a show, and then you sell merch, and you can buy a home with your brain. Like, it's like, I'm telling you, man, that's why I love my collaborations with you, because they bring me back home to when I was a guy watching you, because I know I talk to everyone in my trading group in there. They're at work. Some guys are sneaking my live stream into the bathroom. Some guys are in warehouses, like hiding behind a forklift, like, they're getting their education in. And I was just like them at work, waiting for my boss to creep up, watching you, watching BitBoy. I remember watching BitBoy with the big shirt and the backwards hat, and he looked like a little cartoon character or something, like, and I was like, who is this guy, And then I saw him change to the leather jacket, and I was like, wait, something going on here. He's starting to clean it up, and they had the backdrop, and then the studio, and then boom, 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 and that's another thing. I was thinking the other day, I was like, I look up to you and BitBoy, like, as a man. Like, you guys have done things with your lives, and I want to accomplish things, and I'm like, look what they've done. And, indirectly, you're good examples for other people to go after their dreams. Every one of us shows the fact that we're not streaming us sitting in a cubicle stuck in, we're streaming, doing what we wanted to do with our lives. And it wasn't easy, super hard, hardest thing I ever did to break through. But it was people like you, people like BitBoy. And I'm going to do the same. If I see a YouTuber, 3,000 subs, he's grinding, I'm like, yo, come on the channel. Let's have it. It's like, and that's community. That's the world. That's feeling connected, man. It's awesome. So we're talking about all the good things. Let's talk about one coin that, maybe Matic. What's up with Matic, man? I got a lot of Matic, I'll tell you, between 50 cents. And then I went in pretty hard around a dollar, I didn't panic sell it. I have it. I'm holding it. I knew I should have sold every single. I basically sold when Phantom hit near $1, I unloaded basically all my bags. Like, because I looked at it and I was like, everything's going to go. Like, I had an instinct, and I was like, if I don't take a chunk of stable, and then I wrote down what I sold, like 30,000 Phantoms. And I was like, I'll just buy back what I have and then take the rest off the table and swing trade or buy Bitcoin, and it was a good idea, but I didn't sell the Matic. I know you've been holding Matic, I believe, since, I'm going to have to say, a penny. Hold on. I know, but you've been holding Matic since probably, I think, under a penny. I don't know. What is your thoughts on Matic right now?
Well, I think it's probably one of the more viable projects that'll survive to the next bull market. But I also am not gonna not gonna fool myself at saying, most altcoins are gonna go down 90 to 99%, if not 100% over this bear market. So uh, it comes back to perspective, and you asked earlier about like my first bear market, and having perspective in your first bear market is almost impossible. If you can do it, good luck. But I
Yeah.
remember my first one, like just watching this stuff just disappear. You had in your mind that you had all this money and then it's just gone. And having perspective is really hard, but then trying to have a longer time frame. So up to this point, Bitcoin's pretty much had 4-year cycles. I think it's had 3 4-year cycles so far. So based on that, there's an 80% chance that it'll have another 4-year cycle. So by 2025, there's a good chance we'll have a bull run. There's a 20% chance that we won't. So, but I would. Mhm.
Being a heavy TA guy, sometimes the TA starts to tell you something. Like it's not your emotions anymore. As you start to lead away from your emotions, because that's really what technical analysis is. You're changing the way you interpolate brain signals. Like you're not going where, because it's like flight. It's supposed to protect you, right? You're supposed to listen to that instinct, but that instinct's not protecting you in trading. Like you need to diminish it, and then you need to say no. Like the stochastics are low. Like this is when I dollar cost average, right? Even though I don't know what's going to happen, I would say open minded. But there's some weird inkling in the charts, like the 2-week, the monthly, the weekly, the RSI. Been there like once where it's at in the last 4 or 5. Yeah, it just, and then the dollar index at this peaking point on the 2-week chart, which tells me like, yeah, they can push it, but it's like, the last bit of ketchup in the bottle. Like, I think that's all it's got. Like, I don't think it's got like a really good Heinz thump out of it, So I'll come up with this stuff. But the idea is the charts are conveying that we may, like, there's a chance we do see some type of bull pop or some type of relief rally. Maybe to 38, 40K, something like that. I'm not guaranteeing it, but it just, the strong daily divergence that the daily has this amazing bullish divergence on it. That's like very, very hard. And I haven't seen that, that's only a few times. And that was at 30K when we bounced back to 69. There's inklings that we won't have such a, do you think also the KuCoin coins, like I'm able to trade better. The last bear market when Bitcoin did these types of dumps, like 5 coins went up 50, 60% today on KuCoin, like FitFi and all this other stuff, like the new little walk coin, like it's like a GMT competitor. I've never seen this type of action for me, Do you think it will be a funner, more interesting bear market with far more opportunity and growth, or the same old everyone hating on each other, smashing their Lamborghinis and crying,
I think definitely initially there's a lot of saltiness, and that's just the nature of things, because money is it's like people's survival, and when there are problems with money, people lose all types of comfort, and so it's a difficult area, and I totally understand where people are coming from, but we certainly could have a better bear market this time, just because there's been so much more development. There's so much more involvement since the last time. Like in 2017, we didn't have the world's richest man talking about Bitcoin. We just didn't. Now we have the world's richest man talking about Bitcoin. That's pretty crazy. And it's just the continuous development. Like where we are now, Ethereum has 4 years more of development than where we did last bear market. So it's progressing. And I was watching Crypto Stackers the other day, and he was talking about how a lot of people get price and value confused. And they're two distinct things. So like Ethereum, while the price is going down,
I think I caught that. I saw some. Yeah, I caught some of that.
Someone Forrest is great. He does some amazing analysis. And while the price of Ethereum is coming down, its value is continually going up because they're still building on it. They're still adding value. I mean, it has the most developers out of pretty much any project out there working on it. And so the value is continually going up, and eventually the price comes down below the value. And that's a great opportunity to buy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny. That's kind of like my trading group and my YouTube channel. Like, it's like it grows in the popularity, and then Like we built up our Discord strong, like, and now many people don't realize like how important it is. But then when the runs come back and people see the information, it's like you have been there and you've built this beautiful, educational center or place for people to learn. And you're like, and that's like people really utilize it and they're like, wow. And I tell everyone too, you learn the most right now. Like I learned the most watching a bear market transition into a bull market, because if you don't watch that section, you'll never know when to kind of like feel out that type of behavior again. You won't looking at the RSI on the weekly. You won't look at the 200. You won't know these bigger macro ideas. You'll watch one YouTube video and think you wrote it down, but you won't remember. Like it won't be something that you go to, it won't be a constant. And, when you look at these macro perspectives, you zoom out and again, time in the market. Like I have bought in Bitcoin when the fear and greed index was at 7 and 8, and I've been rewarded. I bought Bitcoin in the pandemic the day that March 2020, like I bought a whole Bitcoin. It was nothing else I could have done. Like I think I had like eight or 9 grand on my savings, and I put half. I was like, you know what? It was almost like you're in like the Revolutionary War, and you're just like, like they're going to kill you, and you're going to shoot the last guy with you. It's like, if they're going to take me out, like, I'm just going to take, I'm going to put my last in what I believe in, it's kind of like, and honestly, I'll be honest, once I made the Bitcoin buy, there was a weird relief. I don't know what it was. If it was just, but once I pressed the buy button, there was just this, like, I was like, dude, this is going to go to like 70K and you're going to be okay. And I would 20X that buy, right? And it would take like a year, and it wouldn't take, it was like a year and a half. Turn 3 grand, like $70,000, like only Bitcoin, like, oh man, like, and that's what I love. So when I last saw the fear and greed index got to 8 and then went back to 20, I think you said it. I don't know if you tweeted it, but someone was like, am I he tweeted, he was like, are you depressed that Bitcoin's back to 42 and because you didn't get enough when it was down at 8 and 9, and that's when I knew I changed. We went to 42 the last time and I was like, man, you had 29 so much. You had under 30K. What were you thinking? Like, so I'm not playing games when it's 8 and 9, and I'm not worrying about 10K and 5K. I believe they could come. I'm like you said, gut check for them. I look myself in the mirror. Can you handle a 50% fall down? And then I make my move, right? How do you do that? Like when you make that last final decision, do you write it down? I sometimes write it down. I write down, like, can you handle 10K?
Yeah. I mean, writing stuff down is a great way to accomplish anything in life. I'm a huge advocate of writing down all my goals and everything like that, because they end up coming true a lot more quickly than if I was just trying to think of them. So I think writing down pen and paper is a great way to do stuff. For me personally, I just have like very vivid memories of 2018, 2019. Like I can remember every downturn of the market, where I was, what I was doing. Like every moment of Bitcoin falling was like my September 11th, my JFK getting shot, like all of these things, because it was very visceral for me. And like, so I always look back at that and I'm like, I survived that. I could probably survive most other stuff. But on the other hand, like a lot of people, because the reason that Bitcoin went up to $70,000 is because a lot of new people came into the market. And so a lot of those people, they're experiencing their first loss right now. They're down from $70,000 to $20,000 if they're even still involved. And the one good thing that Bill Noble always says is, hey, if you've lost a lot of money in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, you have something in common with every great trader out there. Every great trader has lost a lot of money. And because you've done that, and because you're still in the market,
you might actually become a great trader. Yeah. Wow. That hits me hard as someone who's been trading his whole life, like 15 years, but like putting a lot of time into trading his whole life. But that's a great thing for people to hear.
Yeah.
It's like it's like every great swordsman has been sliced, right? Like he didn't, he almost caught it real bad, but then he learned how to move after that. Right. And it's like either, and honestly, the difference between the person that lost a lot of money and a great trader is the person who didn't give up.
Exactly.
Some of those people did lose that money and they left the market completely and they never became great traders.
Mm-hmm. which is one of the difficulties with leverage trading or margin trading right now, because that's one of the surest ways to
Preach.
lose
Preach on
everything. Yeah, that's one of the surest ways to get out of the market. Because if you buy Bitcoin spot, it'll go down however much it goes down, but you still have that Bitcoin. And then when it goes up, it's right there. But when you buy on margin or buy leverage, you get liquidated and then it's gone. Like I know a bunch of people who have traded leverage, and I don't know a single one that hasn't been liquidated.
I'll tell you, I got good at, I thought I was, I had my britches about me. I made 21 straight spot trades in a row. I started trading publicly in front of people, hitting gains in front of people on the live, drinking my own Kool-Aid. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try this leverage trading. I'm a good trader. Never tell yourself you're good at trading, even if you are, if you think you are, just never say you're good at it. Because the second you say you're good at it, it's over. Like, so I'm always like, I'm okay. I'm a beginner. I'm still learning, like I never want to give myself. I remember that one kid's channel. He was called himself Expert Crypto. He's not here anymore. Like he called some bear. I don't know what happened. He disappeared, but, but so I traded leverage. I remember I started small, like $50, got a couple little tiny liquidations. I wasn't paying attention. I got hard. I came up with a really good way of finding bullish divergence on the 1 minute. It had to be, and I would wait for the moving average. I had this I could teach someone, and I turned $100 into 700, but then I was up for 36 hours. Like, because it's once you start, you're on, dude, you're on. And you're in that trade and and then you hit it and you're like, okay, like I made my first $50. Like, let me get to 200. And then I took a little nap. And then what happens one time is you get close to a margin call and you fall asleep and you wake up liquidated. Like you wake up to an email, so unless you want to take no dose all day long. And I said to everyone else, it's not healthy for me. Like, everyone wants to do it. And I'm like, maybe you haven't really done it yet. Number one, it moves differently than the spot price, right? I don't know if you remember, just like a few months back, Binance did something so dirty. Like Bitcoin went to I think 39. Like they freaking flipped it to 48K on some trade. And they just liquid, and everyone was so pissed. And I was like, what are you pissed for? You're trading a rigged game. Like stop thinking that you were going to get away with it. Mm-hmm. Every time you think you're getting something for free, you're not. $41,100 free if you join the Bybit, like the whole and honestly, they tell you that's 4% you get for free. You have to put $100,000 to get the $4,000. So they're saying get a $4,000 free. You never know what's getting $4,000 for free. Mm-mm. It's just like when they give you a free $100 at the casino. They know
they're getting it back.
So I tell all my students, please don't leverage trade. I say if you have to, you must have 2 to 3 years in spot trading if that's what you want to do. I use the 3L and 3S tokens on KuCoin. You can't get liquidated. So and it's good for me because I can see a really good trade. And if Bitcoin's going to move 8%, I can make 24. And they don't gouge. They're pretty good. There's not a lot of wick hunting. They seem all right. So I do that. That's what I do. But I don't go into the section. I don't start. Here's what happens. I tell people, this is what happens. Johnny B, great guy, smart dude. He's managed his money before. He knows, he got, so he's like, all right, I have 10 grand. I'm only going to send $1,000 into my leverage account. And that's it. That's it. And I'm only going to make little $100 to $200 leverage buys, So he starts a few $100 and then next thing you know, he kind of convinces himself to do a $250 and he's in, and then he's so he gets his TA. That's another thing. They get 2 years into TA and they know just enough to hurt themselves. And now they're convinced it's an inverted head and shoulder. The Stokes are low. It has to pop. I am right. And close to liquidation. I'll just send a little more in, and then the liquidation goes lower. Close to it. I'll just send a little more in. Next thing you know, they blew the 1,000. And then they're back. And the next thing you know, they transfer that. And slowly but surely, they chew through that 10 grand. And Bitcoin goes from 9K to 69,000. And they would have turned the 10 grand into 60 grand and just been patient. It comes down to the same lessons our mothers taught us. If you had a good one, be patient. Why do you need it all right now? The devil wants you to make money fast and in haste. God wants you to wait and be patient. These are the lessons that we learned when we were kids. You can't cut in line when you want to drink in the drinking line. You have to wait to have, your turn to drink the water fountain. But everyone wants to get 10 cups before everybody else. That's leverage trading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I definitely see the draw. Like I understand the psychology because there's a lot of people on Twitter who are posting cars that they have and all these material things that they have. And I think that everybody needs to get to that point because like I think it was Jim Carrey who said that, I wish everybody could get all the material wealth they want to realize that's not it.
Yeah.
Because once you get to that point, you realize it's kind of empty. Like Will Smith in his biography, he was saying that I always thought that it was lack of money, that I was miserable because of lack of money, and then I got more money that I could do anything with, and I realized the miserableness was due to me, and that was even hard. That was even a harder pill to swallow. So while I think that everybody has to get to the point where they can accumulate a lot of wealth, I think that trying to do it quicker than natural is is it doesn't work because
But
you can't get rich quick. You can get broke quick, but you just can't get rich quick.
yeah, no, you can't. And if you do, it's not the quality of richness that you're going for, where it comes from a sustainable, growth structure that makes you feel like you want to be a part of it forever. That there's nothing like that. I keep going back to this Bukowski quote, and he says, like, if you want to do something, go all the way. Like, you'll lose friends, you lose family, you'll sleep on a park bench. He's like, and then you'll get to this point of isolation. He's like, but isolation is the gift. And when I read that, my hair stood up because pandemic came. I took my job away that I was doing. I left New York City. And then everyone knew New York City was a hotbed. So I wasn't going to go visit friends I hadn't seen in 7, 8 years. Hey, I'm from New York City. Want to hang out? So I was basically socially isolated. And all I had was my charts and my channel and my life and people, and you and the collaborations. And that isolation gave me the focus to put my 110% into the crypto, into the technical analysis. And then I was able to see things other people didn't, and then grow the growth and then teach and learn it. And now you connect to people that went all the way. You feel it. I used to be a little jealous and envious of people. I could be watching a basketball game. I'm like, man, I should be a star in my own right. I should feel like an A in my life. And I didn't, and I was like, he's an A. He goes every day. He made it to the NBA. And I would compare myself to greatness and know that I wasn't achieving greatness. And it felt horrible, honestly. Like the success to me isn't the money. It's being free. It's knowing that I don't have to email a boss to ask for my vacation time off. I was at the beach with my wife, and the guy was asking his wife, well, when you got to call him? What time you got to be back? And I said to my wife, I said, hopefully we'll never have to have that conversation again. Like, I don't have to ask you, and you won't have to ask me when we're going to ask our boss for time off. If you have to get rich for that, fine. But I just wanted to be free. That's all I wanted. I didn't want to have to be someone's monkey,
Yeah. There's this guy that I watch a lot on YouTube. His name is Alex Hormozy. He's also known as the $100 million CEO. And basically he was broke, I think, twice. And then eventually now he's making a lot of money, but he's very rational about it. And he's not all caught up in the material things. Cause he's like, I've driven every car possible out there, and pretty much the best car you can have is a Chevy Suburban. He's like, I've eaten at all these fancy restaurants, and pretty much the best place you can eat is Cheesecake Factory. And so he looks at these things, and
funny you said I go there a lot.
yeah, dude, it's the best food you can find anywhere. And he says that more important than wealth,
really good service.
Yeah, more important than wealth is skills, because skills will last through any economic downturn, any bear market. You will still maintain those skills. You can never lose your skills to someone who divorces you. So he just focuses. He says, spend as much money as you can on skills until from those skills you're able to have more money. That's basically it. And I believe that too.
I did exactly and then I learned, like, people think success is different for every one of us. But because we live in a universe that's mathematical and 2 + 2 always equals 4, there is an actual sequence to become a multimillionaire. Like, there's a sequence to do it, and you just got to follow it. Like, it's simple. First thing, you should be working out and eating somewhat properly, right? Drinking water and because if you're working out every day, you're going to have endorphins in your mind. You're going to believe in yourself a little bit. It's going to be easier to pick yourself up if someone puts you down. It's going to be a little easier to not be depressed. Simple as that. Like, you're going to have the chemicals in your body that lack depression. Like, when you get stressed, you create cortisol, and cortisol creates it's actually a chemical in your body. So when you're around people that stress you out or putting you down, it's harder for you to accomplish your dreams, because chemically it's like putting sugar in your gas tank. People forget that we're a bio unit, and the bio unit needs to be fed properly for the mental unit to go, and all things need to be aligned, right? So I preach the lemon water on my live every morning. I squeeze lemon water. I drink a sip of honey. I haven't had any allergies throughout and I live surrounded by thousands of trees, because I found the local honey, and all winter long, I take a sip of it, and that you get, you're in with all the antigens, and you won't get allergies that year. And then all those people, I don't want to go outside. So I preach that. And then I say, start investing. If you don't know, if you want to learn, like right now, you could go online and find all these lawn care guys, research it, spend 2 years, do your own lawn while you have your own job, get so good at gosh damn lawn care, find out what all the other guys are doing that's not right, put together 2 other products, mix something else, kind of put your own special sauce, try it on your neighbors. His is amazing. He says someone else, and bang, 5-7 years from now, you could have a national, you're sending your products around, and and you could take over the lawn industry. Like, you just have to, so you pay people that are experts at what you want to know. You then take that, put your own sauce on it, and put as much as you can into it, and then you repackage it. And why people buy it from you, you save them all the time that you spent knowing it. Your videos are 7 minutes long, but I didn't have to go through every one of those Twitter feeds, every one of those charts, every one of those plays. It took me 3 hours to find out what you gave me in 7 minutes. That's why your channel is powerful, because you save people time. If you can save people, Uber made money because you don't have to wait for a yellow cab on the side. You can get your last bite of cheesecake, and then your car's outside waiting for you. Normally you have to like kind of end dinner and then wait for your cab. You might not get it. Go to the corner. I was in New York City 20 years. Second Uber came. Oh my God. If you can save people time, you're going to make their life more convenient, and they will pay you. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. Save people time and get rich. It's crazy, but yeah,
Yeah. One of my favorite books is The Magic of Thinking Big. And I think the last sentence in that book, Think and Grow Rich, another great book. And one of the last sentences in that book says, put service first and the money will take care of itself.
It really will. I think you told this to me. You've told me these gems. And I think subconsciously I started doing what you told me, man, from our first session together. And wow. Yeah. Make other people's lives better, and you'll never have to worry about your life being great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Zig Ziglar says something like that.
Yeah. That's the quote on the top of our trading group. That's the top quote you get. One of my trading guys loved it, and he added it to like the intro email,
Yeah. And I think it's just important to develop the mindset that anything one person can do, you can do as well.
My motorcycle broke down. I bought a used one in 2014. I bring it in, and I got a flat tire, and the guy's like, yeah, I'll fix it. And he's not trying to charge me the money. He's not all about he's like, yeah, we'll take care of it. And I'm like, no, but like, I got to pay you. He's like, oh, yeah. Next thing he makes me an offer. I had long hair. I looked like Jax Teller. I had long hair and a beard. He's like, why don't you come work at the place for and I was working a night shift in the TV industry, but I knew nothing about motorcycles. And I figured if I put 2-3 months in here, if I break down on the side of the road, this guy will pick me up in his truck. And so I was like, let me hang out with this guy for my first 6 months while I'm doing motorcycles. Point of the story was there was an old guy there named Vito that had worked around the shop. And he said, I tell you, man, my dad used to tell me, if he can do it, you can do it. There's nothing you can't do in this life. Why? If he can figure it out, then you can figure it out. And he would and I was around this old dude, any job I had. And you could say, why was I making $8 an hour eating dirty chicken wings with a crazy Mexican Italian guy who used to throw stuff all around, But I got a gem from the old guy. And I sat with that old guy with bad knees, and he sat with me every day, and I listened to him. And he was like, we used to eat stale bread. He's like, we just put it in the oil again, good again. Yeah, we take a whole stale bread. He just told me, it's just funny, that old school life, and he was stacking silver. He was talking about all the silver he had, and he was almost Bitcoin wasn't around then, but man, yeah, it's like, I always gravitated towards people older than me and just wanted to just sit with them and ask them and hang out with them and just be like, how can I get your wisdom and not make the stupid mistakes I know I'm going to make in my 30s and my 40s,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's the beauty of the world. There's so much information available, and it's just one of those things where if you just start doing it, assume that you'll succeed and just start doing it, and never give up, and then you'll do it.
For me, I was trying to make it in the music industry, and I would like go through depression, not stay consistent, you know, get a couple tracks done, get a couple music videos done, but then like, and I would just wasn't consistent. And I would look at every rapper, you know, some of them would go up and down, they do everything, but at least and I saw every rapper that I ever watched that was consistent made it. And I realized that like the universe is going to give you what you want. You just, if you keep going, like everyone thinks that we're battling the world, but we're almost just battling ourselves. Like we can get there. Like this place is for us. It's like you're in my experience and I'm your experience, but I'm here for you. Like I'm part of your experience for you. You're part of my experience for me. Like, and we're just, and if you look at it in that perspective, you realize that like everything will open up for you. You just, dude, YouTube, when you just throw yourself to the world and you see who answers back, it's so easy to cut off all the negative people you had in your real life that like, because you're like, there's so much love out here that I didn't know. Crypto love. There's so much crypto love out here. Why was I taking dirt from, you know, a friend that I maybe went to college with that never really was my friend? Like, why was I hanging around with these kind of succubus people that were taking my energy from me, you know? Yeah, you empower people, man. You empowered me and I empower people. So you've done like an amazing thing by showing up every day. You're consistent.
Well, dude, I'm very grateful to, I always find that the more that I give, the more that I get. And
Every
plus the
time.
better I feel, you know? And so I think it's somewhat selfish that I feel good about giving, but also it's a great thing because you're able to help other people. And you know, I believe that we're all in this together, and if I can make someone's life better, then why wouldn't I?
I did like a psychology report. Beautiful point. I did a psychology report when I was a kid. Like maybe it was in college or something. My wife was taking sociology. I used to sit in on her class. And one of the concepts we went over was it's selfish to give someone a thank you card or a birthday card because you hand it to them and they go, oh, thank you. And you feel really freaking good about yourself. But some people don't do the nice things for people. But I'm like, if you do nice things for people, it actually feels pretty good, you know? Perfect point, you know? And that again goes back to you're creating a good chemical in the brain also that resonates.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about protecting yourself because we can all slip back into our old habits and ways. So if we consistently reiterate positivity, if we always have a mantra, you know, just, I have a little thing on my wall, like, you know, just always be nice. Cause sometimes I can be snappy to my wife. I can just, you know, wake up and it's like, just be nice. Like, just always be nice, you know, like it's just better off, you know, if you're nice to everybody, like goes by better, you know, for sure, man, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think the takeaway for the bear market is just you know, if you're hurting, uh there's a lot of other people, welcome to the club. There's a lot of other people hurting too.
Into the
And
Luna waiting room.
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah.
But try and have a bit of perspective, and you know, don't lose this opportunity because everybody's like, man, if I would have just bought Bitcoin in 2015 or 2013 or whatever. Well, here's the thing. There's this YouTube video I saw a long time ago about like this, I think this 18-year-old Bitcoin millionaire. And I remember being like, man, he was a
Like you with the
millionaire at
glasses,
18.
right?
Yeah, exactly. But you know
Mhm.
what? He owned Bitcoin for 6 years before he was a millionaire. I
Yeah.
still haven't been involved in Bitcoin for 6 years.
Yeah, he put in
So
his time. He put in more
yeah,
time than we did already. Yeah,
yeah.
we didn't put in the work yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, man. You just nail it every time. Crypto love, man. I think we should end it here on such a beautiful note. This was awesome. This is therapy for me. I got rid of my therapist. As long as we talk once a month, I'm good, man. You saved me a bunch of money.
Awesome. I love it too, man. Always a pleasure.